My name is Bruno Tatalovic. I'm a local producer, director, plus I can do other technical stuff, editing and sound design, and pretty much everything that goes into cinematography or videography. I'm also an actor and screenwriter, so in this independent world we have to know almost everything to actually make something out of scratch without much of a budget. So this is the level we are talking about. I screened my first narrative fiction feature film last night here called Dying to Meet You. It was our third public show, and this film, Dying to Meet You, and we can talk about it throughout the panel, is a prime example of how to produce a movie without a budget, practically next to zero. We call it next to zero budget, and using available resources and creativity when it comes to technical side of production. So now let's introduce these two other panelists.
Gotcha. I'm Ryan Atkins. I am a cinematographer and director in the Cleveland area. I'm actually soon to be relocating to Columbus and then Chicago for Columbia, being accepted there. I, as well, have done a plethora of independent projects, shoestring budgets, and it's all. The shoestring budget only strengthens you as a filmmaker because it makes you rely on your own creativity and then the resources that you have at hand. So you're not wishing you had that $10 million budget. It makes you use those neurons in your brain a little bit. I've done several different short films, trying to finish up on one web series, and then currently in production on another. I also do the editing on a lot of this stuff. Let me see, what else? I primarily shoot on DSLR. In fact, I haven't really gone past DSLR for a long while now. They so versatile, small yet very, very powerful. So,
next. Christian Taylor. I apologize, I can't talk very well today. I've lost most of my voice last night.
Did you give a concert last night?
Yeah, I gave a concert, that's it.
It seems like
But I don't sing. Sorry, what was that?
more like a fashion show. Fashion show.
same thing.
Concert, fashion show, what's the difference, you know? But, no, I've been in the independent scene for a while now. I do a lot of stuff with Bruno, so him and I know each other back and forth. And like he said, you really have to know, like at this stage of the game, you really have to know everything. You have to know everything to make something work, because we don't work with big budgets. If you're working on a micro/nothing budget, you really have to know everything. You really have to pretty much do everything, as bad as that sounds, but that's pretty much the role you got to play in the independent scene. So I'm used to kind of overseeing everything. Even if it's, directing, you kind of oversee the cinematography, unless, of course, you have a specified cinematographer or DP on your crew. Because a lot of times, you guys could probably relate, one guy running around doing everything, everybody knows what that's like. I live that.
So we are open actually to your questions, depending on what are you really interested. So we're not going to lecture here about some topic that you are not interested. So let's open to two-way conversation, so you guys can ask specific questions relating to what we just mentioned, or maybe something from our experience relating to this type of cinematography on this level. So we are not talking again about 10 or 15 or $100 million films. We are talking about guerrilla/underground/next to zero budget, and what can you do on that level. So go ahead, just ask questions. Go ahead.
I saw your film last night.
Oh, okay.
And interesting. Let's talk about your budget.
Sure.
What was your budget, and what did you spend it on? And specifically, some of the scenes you did in France.
Yes.
Were those public domain or?
Yes. The film, I don't know how many people have seen Dying to Meet You last night, so a couple of people. So I'll briefly introduce and say exactly what he's referring to. The film has few scenes that, according to the story, take place in Europe. and now we are talking production value, we are talking something that actually maybe gets you in the mode, okay, how can you shoot in Europe if you are talking about next to zero budgets and you are here in Ohio? Well, nothing was actually shot in Europe, so that's one of those things, how to use creativity and available resources without much of money to raise production value, and production value being that term that everybody in the business uses, trying to present something in a much higher and much richer fashion than it actually is. So those scenes that were supposedly done in Europe were shot actually here in metro parks in Cuyahoga County. But again, now creative cinematography. So what can you show and what you can't show, so you can fool and cheat your audience. Fooling and cheating is fine in this because we are making magic here in filmmaking. So when I shot those exterior scenes, I was purposely hiding, for example, buildings and houses, because architecture in Ohio. Thank you, Johnny.
Sound too much.
Yes,
Yeah, so glad you said.
okay. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Fabulous.
Is that pretty good? Yeah. Okay, so now you can even have more problems with my accent because now it's
Just speak a little louder now, too, anyway.
Okay, I will.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So I was talking about production value and how to cheat your audience on a next to zero budget. So the scenes that we shot in Ohio that are supposed to look like Europe, through creative cinematography, we were hiding buildings and exterior houses and buildings that look like typical American architecture, because obviously that doesn't work. So every exterior scene that's supposed to be France was shot in the middle of the forest woods, so you don't see any houses. Now there is, in the middle of the scene, there is a shot where our characters look through the window of the car and they see the scenery while they are driving. Now those houses are actually European houses, and that footage actually was shot in Europe. And how I did it, I shot entire film in 2011, and since I am from Europe, I go on vacation there for a couple of weeks. And since I was on vacation for a couple of weeks, I got this idea, why shouldn't I just shoot maybe a couple of minutes of HD footage just driving from the vehicle and get these houses, and I'll just insert these within the shots that I already have, and that's what I exactly did. So yes, partially it was shot in Europe, but just me holding a camera with my brother who was driving me down this highway. Stock footage, yes, using stock footage, there is nothing wrong with it if you can afford it. So I did purchase a couple of shots of cityscape of New York, which is only 10 seconds in the movie, quality HD footage that cost me maybe $200 or $300, and maybe another shot that obviously I don't have, like a landing of the airplane. I could do that, but what could be the problem? For any ideas, what could be the problem there if I just go at Hopkins Airport and shoot the plane going down? What is the problem with that?
TSA is going to arrest you.
Yes, there are numerous problems. So the guy who looks like me and talks like me faces possible arrest as soon as I park on the grounds of the airport. I'm not joking. I mean, I've been approached many times. But
have you ever wanted to be an actor? At Cleveland Academy of Film Acting, anyone can get on the path to a new exciting film career. If you're new to acting, an experienced pro, or somewhere in between, Cleveland Academy is for you. We help place our students in local film projects. Classes are on Wednesday night from 8 to 10 p.m., and your first class is absolutely free. Call 216-323-2393. That's Cleveland Academy of Film Acting.
Admit it. You're the one who killed him. You seduced him, gained his confidence. And then when he wasn't looking, you reached into your purse and without conscience or remorse, you pulled out a gun and shot him. And cut. Curious? Visit theindygathering.com, a film festival, and so much more.
In today's world, there is an absolute need to know how to protect yourself. But who has the time or money for lengthy training sessions with techniques you may not remember in a time of need, or which can wind up putting you in even more danger? With Escape and Survive, you will learn effective, easy-to-remember techniques for getting out of dangerous situations. No complicated moves, no expensive, time-consuming training. Just common sense self-defense. Book your seminar today at escapeandsurvive.com.
So I kind of disregarded that immediately in pre-production, and we looked for stock footage, and I found stock footage. You just Google stock footage HD landing of the plane, and I found 10 seconds for about $200. And guess what? The plane actually in that footage didn't have any signs, any copyright signs, no company. It's like a plain white plane that probably doesn't exist anywhere. And the guy who shot the footage actually probably through visual effects, After Effects, he removed everything because he knew. So now I got really nice shot of this plane going down for a couple of $100. I didn't have to go and face TSA and those issues. So again, very, very low budget, next to zero budget, but high production value. That's the goal. And you guys can do that if you use creativity and just some research. So,
Actually, I have a
go
comment
ahead.
on
Yeah,
that.
go ahead.
I've always, wow, it's loud.
It's okay.
Um,
Keep doing it.
A couple of my colleagues have always complained that, I've always said whatever is not in frame doesn't exist. And it's kind of, let's say like you want to shoot like a mural in like this horrible community, but it's just really artsy and it fits for your film. If you don't see it in frame, it just doesn't exist. It's a matter of using your creative instincts to make it seem like you're in one place, but you're in another. I'm guessing everyone maybe has seen Jaws in this room, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, Steven Spielberg's cinematographer, when they were filming, they were a child's swimway a distance off of the shore. You really were not far from the shore. You could probably see them filming if you lived in Martha's Vineyard. But in the film itself, it looked like they're all in the Atlantic Ocean, no one else around. It is creative shots that they use. So again, whatever you don't see in frame does not exist. We could have, dogs and cat, whatever in the background, but if you don't see it, it's just not there. So think of that. You don't have to have your entire location fit for what you want to do. As long as that, 16 by 9 frame, or hope you're not shooting 4 by 3 for cinema, but if you are, use 16 by 9. Hopefully that frame just, use that for what you wanted to do it with, so don't feel like you're limited for the location doesn't completely fit what you want to film for, and that's another part of no budget filmmaking for us indie people. So,
I have a question. Because filming on film used to be, it's still expensive, but it was the only way to do. That's when storyboarding became a very good tool. Nowadays, I know myself, when we shoot, we just press one and then we just keep rolling until there's no more room, and then we download and that's it, we start again. How important storyboarding your projects has been in the past productions you have?
Okay, I'll give you my opinion on it, and you can ask these guys too. In my experience, I did the storyboarding when I first started with my first short film, because that's how I was taught in a film school. This is the way you can make it easier for yourself. So I did little storyboards, and that's actually the only way I did my first couple of short films when I was in film school. And it helps a lot, obviously, because you now have your visuals from your head transferred to the paper, and you have some reference when you go on the set. Since I changed that strategy, because storyboarding takes a lot of time in pre-production, and if you are doing so many other things, it can take a lot of time. So I prefer now a really good shot list. So again, I'm transferring my ideas, my visions from my head on the paper, but in the form of a really good shot list that outlines every little shot that I can think of in my head. So I don't have to think about it when I'm on the set, because there is no time to think about it. When you are on the set, you have to just shoot, and shoot. There is no time to say, well, oh, let me think about it. Then just pretty much annoy everybody else. So if I put on the paper every shot, let's say WS wide shot, MS medium shot, close-up, ECU. So I just go down the list, and I'm very detailed about it, and that shot list can include, let's say, 40, 50 shots that I have to do today. But if I go by that list and exactly the way I put it on the paper, I will save a lot of time.
So you still do it?
But only as a shot list.
Right.
As far as storyboards, if I had, let's say, a bigger budget so I can hire a good storyboard artist in pre-production, I would like to have that, because it's a really
Intern.
cool thing. Yeah.
Get an intern.
Yes, you can. Actually, I had a couple of interns on my film, but that's kind of risky business because interns, some of them think that it's just a free ride to be on the set and just BS on the set, but some actually take it seriously. But then again, storyboarding is very extensive work that requires some skills. So you can't just get somebody who doesn't know how to draw. But storyboarding is more useful, I would say, for camera operators and actual DPs, not for directors, because directors already have their vision in their head, and if they put it on the paper, they know exactly what they want. But if they are working with a new DP that they never worked before, or a new camera operator, it's easy actually to show storyboard and say, okay, this is the shot I want. Just take a look, and the camera operator will take a look and say, yeah, I know what you want. This is exactly what we're gonna do. So storyboards are useful as a link or kind of connection between a director's vision and DP or camera operator's vision to make everything smoother. So Chris, would you like to elaborate on this from our experience on Dying to Meet You?
Of course.
Because Chris was my camera operator on my film.
It's not that loud.
Check. Can everybody hear me? Okay, good.
Voice and guide.
Oh, yeah, storyboards, okay. Never done one, ever. Or a shot list, either, for that matter. Well, that depends. Like, his definition of a shot list and my definition of a shot list would probably be really different. Not really quite sure what I mean by that, but no, on Dying to Meet You, we didn't have, we did not storyboard anything. And we really didn't need to, because Bruno and I both kind of served as the DP, and since we had experience working with each other in the past, we really know how we work, and it just kind of works like that. You don't really need a storyboard per se. Am I right?
I guess. You can ask the audience if they like what they see on the screen, then I guess it works.
Yeah, does it work? Did you like what you guys see? It works, right? Without a storyboard, that stuff doesn't look. It looks like it could be storyboarded. It looks like it couldn't be storyboarded. Either way, you can't tell, right? So we did good.
I guess for me, it depends on the scope of the project. If it's a smaller project, I often would just make up a little. I've only storyboarded one project. That was my capstone when I graduated from school, because we had to. That's because I really had no drawing experience. I did have to take anatomy classes, which I blew the teacher away, but it didn't mean storyboarding is one of those it's like a quicker process, and I don't enjoy it very much at all. So for me, we actually had to find reference images of our locations and different kinds of order that we want to use. And I harness that. So if you find some way of showing, if you want to show others what's on your mind, in addition to making a shot list, you can at least find reference images of your locations. And if you shot enough, you know what a 2-shot is, you know what a wide shot is. You know if you're sitting far away from a building, you're not going to get close up. Sorry, it's not going to happen. If you're seeing close up, so experience with shooting is going to help you decide, do I need to make up a storyboard, do I not?
Cleveland Academy for Self-Defense is Northeast Ohio's premier martial arts school. Located on Cleveland's near west side, we teach several martial arts disciplines, specializing in Taekwondo and Hapkido. As taught by Master Ray Such, students of Cleveland Academy learn discipline, formal martial arts training, and real-world self-defense techniques. Classes are available for children and adults. Cleveland Academy for Self-Defense, the home of champions.
This is in the situation where you guys produce and film your own things. But let's say he writes something, I produce it, he's gonna direct it, and you're the DP. How are you communicating to the people who put the money what the vision is?
I would definitely make up a shot list at least.
What if they don't know what a shot list is?
You would show them the shot list.
What if they don't, they're producer, they're just money. How do you communicate to them?
If the producer doesn't know what shot list is, I think that producer doesn't have anything to do in this business.
They have money. They have money.
That would be executive producer. So
yeah, but let's
people,
say they say, you know, I've heard of you guys, you know, can you show me something? What is it gonna look like?
Yeah,
what are the tools you have today?
Yeah, this is the way I approach this because I pretty much you know, everything, because I had to be everything, especially on Dying to Meet You. I was the executive producer, director, writer, and everything. So I know that pipeline. So I would say if, for example, you write the screenplay and you find somebody who's interested to actually give you money, so you find the executive producer, and this person doesn't have a clue about filmmaking, but he's a rich uncle who's got $1 million, and he just says, I believe in you, I believe in your story, but I really don't have a clue about filmmaking, so now what do we have to do? And you are just a writer, you don't know how to produce, you know how to write, so now both of you guys have to find an experienced producer. An experienced producer is the person who should know all of these things, otherwise that, that movie can't be made. You know? Because it starts with a producer. The producer is number one on the film, not the director. The producer is the one who receives Academy Award for Best Picture, not the director. So without a producer, you can't make a picture, period. So as a writer who finds an investor, executive producer, both of you are not experienced, you must find first a producer who does have an experience. Otherwise, you can't make a feature film without people who don't have any experience. I mean,
I guess worst case scenario, just spend lots of time learning how to draw. If you really are having trouble conveying your image over, I haven't really worked with anyone who just had money, just had no idea, but wanted to have so much involvement. It's kind of, in my experience, I've noticed that they have no experience and they're just like, I don't know, but here's some money and just show me the best thing that you can get. I haven't really had a lot of people that want to be like in the creative end of things, but explain that they have no idea what any of this stuff is. It's kind of like an in my experience, it has been an oxymoron, where it just, I haven't had those two combinations. But if you really have to show them your vision, then stick figure it out, print out images of your location, draw people on that picture, whatever you got to do if you really have to go that route. For me, not a real good drawer, but if you want to or you can, then go for it. It's probably your fail-safe. So sometimes you just have to. I've had to do that before too. So.
Well, isn't one of the alternatives that you could kind of meet halfway is adding more like visual elements into your script? Like good example would be Shane Black, who he was a scriptwriter who turned director, and his last was the Iron Man 3 movie. But he started his career as a screenwriter by really fleshing out the visual elements within the script itself so that it was entertaining for the script reader. And if you're not good at drawing, but you can still, you can build a picture with words, just like any piece of literature.
I'll give you, let me just switch this topic actually back to what this panel is about, and that's cinematography. So how to engage actual cinematography or videography within a pre-production process. So trying to present somebody your vision. Shoot a concept trailer, and you can elaborate on this. What is concept trailer as far as like being almost like a short visual of what you're trying to do in a feature film?
Right, I've noticed a lot of indie filmmakers will opt for their trailer and then put that on Indiegogo to get funding for the project. So if you putting visual elements into a script, if you're writing that script, then you should definitely do that. You talk to your writer on doing that. If you're going to a person that just needs to hear, or not hear, but read descriptive words on what a location looks like, what a person looks like, what the action is doing, things of that nature. A scene that pops in my mind is in the movie Argo, when they're in the airport. The foreign guys are blocking them. They obviously had no idea about filmmaking. They just wanted to arrest them. They were like on the brink of doing that. I don't remember what his position was, but one of the guys just stepped up and started to act out the scene. It was really well drawn out.
Yeah.
But think of that action as just description, like just in the screenplay. You may have to even do that. Just kind of go 5 years old on them and just kind of act out whatever storyboard you have, if that's what you got to do. Some people just have money. They want to see something. They may be somewhat difficult to work with in that respect, but you kind of just have to break down out of your age group and just maybe even act out just like that guy did. A bunch of foreigners that had guns in their face, so
But the most important thing is once you finish your screenplay, your feature screenplay, you have to start making a business plan, because this is business actually. Even if it's a small level of independent filmmaking on a budget of $5,000, $10,000, or less than $25,000, it's still a business. That's some cash that means something to somebody. So you have to present some type of business plan, filmmaking business plan. So usually I make a binder that's maybe let's say 25 or 30 pages, and what I include there, I don't have to include the entire screenplay, but I include a really good 5-page treatment, so kind of mini treatment on 5 pages that actually tells the entire story, so whoever reads knows, okay, this is what the film is about. I don't have to read the entire screenplay. Then I also put bios of people who are included, so who am I, my short biography, or if I have a writing partner or producing partner, I put that information. I put also all the links to some stuff that I might have online, so maybe if I shot some videos on YouTube, or if I should be on IMDb. If I'm not on IMDb, then it's a problem, because people will say you don't have any experience whatsoever. IMDb.com is virtually a resume for every filmmaker or anybody related to film in any way, because if you are not present on IMDb.com nowadays, you pretty much don't have any experience. You have zero experience, and people will not trust you, will not believe you. So if you try to raise money through Kickstarter or Indiegogo, a lot of people fail there because they think, oh, I'll just put my stuff on Kickstarter or Indiegogo and people will see it and people will start throwing money at me. No, you're not going to receive any money because you are not already present on social media or you are not on IMDb. First thing I look, for example, and I donate on independent projects. I donated on probably 4 or 5 films just because I like the story, so I donate $50, $100 in exchange for whatever they offer. But I want to see who's making this film. So if I don't see on Kickstarter a short biography of the producer or a director, if I don't see an IMDb link, I don't trust this person. If let's say on Craigslist is now, you know, gone to trash pretty much because of porn. But years ago when I did short films, I did a lot of ads on Craigslist and it worked very well. I found entire crews, I did auditions through Craigslist. Still sometimes I look on Craigslist to find some auditions because I'm an actor too. If I don't see a Craigslist ad that actually has you know, a lot of information in it and again, IMDb link to this person who claims to be a producer or director, it's a scam.
You two have disrupted my classroom for the last time.
What are you gonna do about it? Spank us?
She can't spank us. It's against the law.
Spanking would be too easy. I want to cause more permanent damage.
And cut! Curious? Visit theindiegathering.com, a film festival, and so much more.
Welcome to Movie Outline 3, your first step to a successful screenplay. Movie Outline is powerful screenplay development software for both the amateur and the professional screenwriter, which uses the simple technique of step outlining to build your story, characters, and screenplay scene by scene. With Movie Outline, you can easily plan and customize your story structure, color code acts, rearrange scenes, develop and track characters, format your screenplay, and compare your own story to successful Hollywood movies. Movie Outline is the ultimate writer's tool. Visit www.movieoutline.com to download the free demo today.
Kind of like just having it yourself, just an online presence. If not IMDb, at least have some stuff on YouTube and Vimeo that people can at least watch. If you have nothing, you say that you're this big producer from Hollywood, right? You're not. You actually don't need to have your film in a film festival to submit to IMDb. You can actually do it yourself. You just have to have a free account. You can do that. It won't happen instantly. But within like 3 days, you can add your own project to there. And your name gets created by project. So if you have a title, you add names to that. That's one way, but at the bare minimum, at least provide portfolio items on Vimeo. So when you are looking for people to produce your project, and if you're looking for your cinematographer, whatever crew member, at least have something online that people can see, because that's a lot of how we're finding people. They don't have that DVD in their hands, so at least have something in Vimeo or YouTube. It'd be nice to have IMDb so they could just get a visual of what you've done, so they know that you're not, a scam.
So let's switch to other questions.
Anything
Can I,
about cinematography?
a little bit about more about the topic, or go ahead?
I was just change of pace. What cinematographers do you guys enjoy? What kind of movies do you gravitate towards in terms of when you're inspired to go about a scene? Like, because there's so many ways to go about it.
I absolutely love Wally.
Wally's sister.
Yes,
Yeah.
Chris Nolan's cinematographer, or well, usually. The guy who's actually shooting Interstellar now, I don't remember his name, but he has a lot of nice stuff. I think it's Jesus Kaminsky. He actually went to Columbia, where I'm attending. He's seems to be a big cinematographer. A lot of great stuff. And
Why is that you like that?
I like shooting high contrast images, and their shots are. They do have interesting shots, but what I mostly like is how they use light. Such as in Lincoln, I believe cinematography is a large part of your environment. You light it for how the characters are interacting in the story. And it's such as like for Lincoln, they didn't have electricity back then. They just had candlelight. So during the day, you had to have all your windows open. And so there's a scene where Lincoln's looking out the window, and it's just the window on him. It looked amazing. Some of the items were, darkly lit, but he probably used a fast lens at, whatever ISO, probably low ISO, and that window was probably lit by, something else. But just his imagery of how he, makes the story just believable, and not, we don't see a generator in the back room for something. Wally Pfister, however you pronounce that name, I love his use of slow motion. It's both been done in the Batman movies, and especially Inception. It's kind of like an art in itself, because especially on the DSLRs, you have to set your shutter to a different shutter speed. You're doing 60p, you have to set it to 125. Therefore, your exposure is actually going to be a little lower, because the shutter's open for a less period of time. Obviously, he's shooting a much higher frame rate, but he does it so well, and it makes a great impact on the scene. There are a couple others. The cinematography for Drive was very saturated, and cinematography deals with composition, lighting, and just how the image is presented on the screen. So even like some grain, or how a shot is presented, how close up. Some other films I like the cinematography for would be 28 Days and 28 Weeks Later. Those are great in-your-face shots. And then for the indie route, I swear just the movie Jaws is so many of the mistakes that were encountered in that film. They only worked out just for anyone. There's a lot of the shots that when they're out at sea, 70 miles out there, they're actually not. A lot of the shots are just so well done. It just makes it so practical for what we can use, and just harnessing just a little bit of that has just been my inspiration. So.
Chris,
Yeah, why not?
What inspires you? What style of cinematography? I mean, because you are a great, actually, handheld operator. He was my second unit cinematographer and camera operator. And what I love about this guy, and I'm a professor of film, and he was my student, so that's how I got him on my film. He's one of the most talented young cinematographers with handheld operation. His shots are really, really fantastic. How he handles the camera without Steadicam.
That's another thing too.
Yeah. So tell me, just talk about yourself and your style of camera operation.
Excuse me. My style is kind of off the wall. Like, I'll go for that crazy stuff nobody else is willing to go for it. The only two real guys that stick out of my head are kind of indie filmmakers, William Barrett. Does anybody know Adam Green? Anybody know who Adam Green is? Not a clue. Okay. He's Adam Green's DP. And another guy, can't remember his name. he's William Barrett's camera operator, so they work hand in hand, kind of like me and Bruno. He's always DPing every project, and I'm always operating a camera. And it's just that level of integrity that they're willing to go. That's why they stand out in my head the most, because they're willing to get these shots that like other guys aren't willing to get.
Like what?
There's, I wish I could show you the example. What's the guy's name? I can't think of his name. BJ McDonald. This dude, he's insane. He's always a steady camera operator on Will Barrett's, whatever Will Barrett's doing. There's a shot in Hatchet. Has anybody ever seen Hatchet? Everybody knows what Hatchet is. Okay, good movie, great movie. They just made number 3. There's a shot. The first movie, there's a cast of about 8, 9, 10 people, and they're all walking uphill. And what did I just say his name was? BJ McDonald has to walk from the beginning of the line to the back of the line and then back again, backwards uphill, with only an AC with him. And it was a tough shot. It took over, I think, 100 tries to get this done. And they're doing it in like 20-degree weather, and it's just that integrity. So it's like...
And it's handheld?
And it's Steadicam. Steadicam.
Okay.
But on a lot of... this was an indie movie when the first one came out. Their budget was $1 million. And any set that I've been on, guys will say, okay, we got to move on. Let's scrap this shot. We'll move on to the next one. And with BJ, like, I put myself in his shoes all the time. He's, like, I look up to this dude, and he's just like, no, Adam, you want this shot, we're going to get the shot. It took 100 tries, and he got it.
Are you a filmmaker looking for the location of your next project? Contact the North Coast Film Commission. With small cities throughout Ohio, we're here to help with your film, television, and commercial productions. With low to no cost permits and locations, we'll help stretch your budget. From our production resources to our talent database, we will show you just what the North Coast has to offer. Visit northcoastfilmcommission.com today.
This August, come to the film festival where East meets West.
It's an incredible showcase of over 75 films from around the world.
And it's more than just a film festival.
It's a place where filmmakers can gather together with the audience
for one amazing weekend
to celebrate the power,
the drama, the joy,
the magic of independent film.
The Indie Gathering International Film Festival.
It's so much more than you ever imagined.
Stanley Kubrick, which is my probably #1 inspiration, because he was a photographer before he became a director, so he knew cinematography. He did have his cinematographer too, but he actually knew cinematography probably better than anybody else in business, period. And what I love about Kubrick, and I pay tribute to Kubrick heavily in Dying to Meet You with 2 or 3 shots, and it's in your face, it's right there. He would do these outrageous shots that some people nowadays would consider stuff that doesn't really need to be there, because you're telling the story, and nowadays everything is fast-paced and everything is just tell the story, entertain the audience. Don't worry about artistic shots. No, Kubrick was heavy on it. That's why his films were 2 hours, 2.5 hours if you can sit through it. For example, on Dying to Meet You, we have a shot of a main protagonist entering the big living room of this house, and he's announced by another character, let me present such and such, and all he has to do in the description is John Smith walks in. So now, as a cinematographer who follows script without any artistic vision, you just follow the script. It says John Smith walks in. So okay, let's put the camera on a tripod, and John Smith will open the door and walk in, and that's it. It's a 2-3 second shot. We see this character coming in. No, Kubrick would do in a very different way, and that's how we did on Dying to Meet You, and Chris remembers this. One day we said, well, he will walk in, but I don't want him just to open the door and walk in and shot from a tripod. Let's actually, because we have this beautiful big room, let's have dolly trucks laid like for 20-25 feet, and when he comes, we'll just put a dolly on the trucks, very low angle, and we'll follow his feet walking and walking and walking and walking, and in the background we'll see all the other characters. So it's almost like this glorious master shot that presents this secretive new character that's coming in, that's not fully revealed. We see it only from the stomach, from his stomach to the floor, on the dolly for next 15 or 20 seconds with some cool music, while all the background characters are staring at him. Kubrick did it in like 3 or 4 films, like in Paths of Glory, in every film that you from Kubrick just watched. He's got these extensive dolly shots that to a lot of people don't make any sense. I mean, why would you do a dolly shot for guy just walks and walks and walks and walks? What's the big deal about this walking? Well, that's production value. That's visual artistry. I mean, if you really enjoy cinematography as an art, so forget about storytelling. Yes, it's storytelling, but who cares about storytelling? Kubrick says, film is not just storytelling, it's an opera, okay? You have to enjoy every shot, every piece of music in it. It's a blend of so many things. Forget about the story, okay? Just immerse yourself into this musical composition. That includes visuals too. So it took us 5 hours that morning in Lodi, Ohio, to set up this, fantastic dolly shot of John Smith walking in. 5 hours of setting up, 2 or 3 takes, and in the movie it's only 10 seconds. Yeah, that's it.
Camera operation is a huge. It's lighting and camera operation just arts in themselves. It's amazing what you can feel from camera operation, and those low dolly shots kind of give you this big presence of this big important person, or something big is going to go down. I'm not necessarily a fan of overly shaky camera. I do film a large part of my stuff freehand, but in Saving Private Ryan, they do it very artfully, and it depends on the project. For war, it's very intense, it's very chaotic.
When they're going for that sort of shot, the dramatic impact shot, don't they also usually throw the shutter out of 180 degrees so it gets that like hyper real kind of look to it?
They might, yeah. And choosing your shots, and so sometimes a shot list may not accomplish that. You may have to write out just a single image and show wave marks. That would maybe a shaky camera, but so if you're filming Saving Private Ryan, you want to show how just crazy this area is, your camera's going to be shaking like no other. It's going to feel, you may even start to get a little bit queasy. Actually, I don't like Cloverfield for that reason, actually. It's just too crazy for me, but Saving Private Ryan, it's just insanely crazy. Other shots are nice and slow and smooth. Maybe it's supposed to be like a slow death for you as a viewer. Like you just don't want to see, it's something bad's going to come, but you just got to see it. So really, the type of shot really can have an impact on the story itself. You don't want your audience to forget about your film. And so don't choose your shots because you just want to be so weird and out there. But if you have something like what he's talking about, it sticks in your head that you just accomplished your goal as an artist.
Yes. I have a question. Nowadays, the editing tools like Premiere and Final Cut really offers things that did not exist when we were using film, such as, it's easy nowadays on a flat frame to just add a zoom and things like that, a pan, by just, changing that. How does those tools influence the way you are filming a movie nowadays? Do you compromise thinking, instead of doing a zoom, a dolly, whatever, we can just do it in post, in editing?
I try to stay away from that term, we'll fix it in post. Some things are inevitable, because what you don't want to do is just create a whole CG movie and just say, yeah, we ran camera on that. And just take credit for ILM's work. I have from time to time done a digital zoom, but you do get a pixelated image then.
Yeah.
So that's another part of planning. Just the kind of shot that if you know you're not going to be able to do a dolly shot, or let's say you're just using prime lenses, you kind of have to plan. You kind of have to do your post work as you're planning without actually doing it. So like the term that I often use, I'm editing the picture in my head, where you're kind of envisioning, okay, in this shot you want to do some kind of, in filmmaking you don't normally zoom. Some shots you do them, but you kind of have to plan out for the post of what. If you don't have the tools to do it in filmmaking, how can you make that happen and not rely on your digital tools to get that done?
But what I'm saying is, like, in school, in filmmaking school, people always there's always that kid that loves The Office and decides that his movie is going to be shot the way The Office is shot, which is like crazy zooms and all that. And as an actor, I've been on set where they say, oh, don't worry, we're going to add an effect. And when I see the movie, the effect is that they use a digital zoom. So my question to you is that how much, knowing that these tools are available, does it influence your style? Really,
I think it just depends on your past experience. When you're young, I think it's often easy to rely on just going the easy route and just doing everything. For me, doing those keyframes on those zooms can get very annoying. I'd rather just press a button and just have the focal length do it itself. I think if you're a young filmmaker, you'll learn that you can't do everything in post. You have to do everything kind of manually. And you'll notice that you will often lose credibility if someone who wants to hire you has noticed that you've continuously done these cheap tricks. Then you may lose credibility with some people. To say that you can't use anything in editing, that's not what we're saying. But don't rely on it to fix your project.
We have to finish this panel, and if you guys have any more questions, we will be walking around so we can chat about this. I thank you for being here today, and come back to Indie Gathering next year. Thank you.